Alrighty, yo, what is up, Knights? Aegis Rick here, back with another account dailies video. And guys, sorry I haven't made a video in a month. Sorry I haven't made an account dailies video in even longer than that. It's been a long time since I last made one of these, and this is one of my favorite series because it encompasses a lot of what I do most of the time in DFO. But guys, we're gonna start it off like we usually do in the Valley of the Fallen Souls, and you guys can notice I'm on my EK to do this kind of content, which I would advise against doing it like this if you're somebody who's trying to, you know, get the most out of it. But at this point, guys, all I'm trying to do is just get it done now. And guys, I'm just gonna mention right at the start of this video that this is after the Pandemonium War update, which gave us a lot of different kind of content. Not really related to daily content, but some of that has changed. You know, some of the things like guild dungeons have changed, and the dailies that you do to get guild points, and the guild system in general has changed pretty drastically. But in terms of dailies, I mean, it's still gonna be signing in, doing this kind of stuff. So you guys can see Tower of Despair, we're gonna be doing that 8 times. Tower of Dazzlement, like I said, I would suggest against doing it on your highest level characters like I have right now. I mean, those are like my strongest characters, but if you're just trying to get it done really quickly, then it's, you know, no reason not to bring your strongest characters. But guys, we have a new dungeon right now, and I just activated my new dope weapon. But new dungeon, that's the Spirit Heaven. And there is some people, you know, I heard some people mention, hey, what is this dungeon? What do you do this dungeon for? And I'm not sure if I've made a video about this or talking about this area yet, but essentially, you people farm this dungeon to get a spirit weapon, which, if you don't know how those work, they're basically just disguises or masks that you can put over top your regular arm or regular weapons. So that's exactly what this is that I'm able to mask over my weapon using a weapon that doesn't exist anymore, and that's where you farm it in this dungeon here. So any dungeons that have been, or excuse me, any gears that have been removed, this is where you'll farm it. So you guys can see you just basically kill a bunch of mini bosses. You get some soul pots as well as some spiritual things right here, which I can then use at the Simona NPC. You know, I can use those souls with the Spirit Heaven NPC, and I can get some pots, or I can just use the pots that I got. You can see when I open it, it generates a weapon, and this weapon, okay, you guys can see here, I got my Transcendence Zanbato, and it generates a weapon, and you can kind of see, we can kind of preview how that weapon will look. Now, this weapon itself does not have any stats or anything. It's not something you're going to use for damage, but it's all for appearance, okay? And the appearance is a system all in of itself. Right now, I'm wearing a Sky's Black Master Zan right here. This is how it's supposed to look on my character, but you guys can see when I put it on, that's not how it looks like. What's going on here? Well, there is a new system in the game that allows you to skin weapons, which is exactly what I did here. I skinned a low-level Halidom weapon as my weapon of choice, and that skins over top any other weapons that I have. So essentially what that dungeon is a place where you can farm weapons that have been discontinued that are at least unique grade or higher. You guys can see, though, I'm getting weapons for classes that I don't have, and there are ways to transfer this over to characters if you want to, but if you look at my character selection, you guys can tell I have spent a lot of resources getting unique looking weapons. I'm using epics as my kind of skin over my weapons. I'm using, you know, level 90 crafted epics. I'm using, you know, old unique weapons. I'm using a lot of different weapons. You guys can see I have a Transcendence Gauntlet on this character. I'm trying to get another one for my brawler. I got a legendary, you know, there's just a ton of, you know, things I'm trying to do to play some dress up fighter online, and that dungeon is a really cool one if there is a weapon that you're looking for that doesn't exist anymore. And by the way, Linus is the one who takes care of that using his replication system. You guys basically just put a weapon here, and you can choose who that weapon goes to, and then you can either use a Linus Steel mod, which makes it into a tradable skin, or you can just use the regular Linus mod, which makes it mold, which makes it into an untradeable version. And of course, they've added that whole system into the weapon shape system. You guys can see here, some people are selling their weapon shapes in here, and you can buy some for, you know, they're going for quite a lot because the Linus mold thing is pretty expensive. So that's the whole system in a nutshell, and I think it's really cool. I think it's a really awesome feature to add to the game, and they've really done a lot of things to accommodate the dress up fighter online. I mean, things like the weapon skin system. Hell, even before that, I think they unlocked the creature skin system. So on my, on my Elven Knight, for instance, I have an event creature skin. I've been dying to put that on forever because the stats suck, but the pet looks amazing, and I'm so happy I have it. And am able to actually look at how awesome he is. But they have that, and just a lot of various things to make your characters unique from one another. I just appreciate that. That Neopos has heeded the complaints that a lot of people have had about systems. Those types of things like what I said, the creature skin system, the weapon skin system, and I think you can get so many cool looking characters now because of it. But anyway, guys, we're jumping into, essentially I'm just gonna bring these guys into these content here, punch them in the gut, and get out of here, and then go into TOD and do much the same. I'm actually on the 100th floor on this character, so I will be getting a pot out of it, and just one shot. It's crazy to think that this content was like, I don't even remember what level cap it was designed for. I think level 70 or something. I'm still doing it to this day. Which the sad thing about it is, actually, they're actually going to be removing that from the game. Once they, I think next update, they're going to be removing this TOD from the game, which is just so sad. For 5 years, I've been going into this dungeon and just getting free money and clearing on all these characters, and all of a sudden, after 5 years, they're finally like, okay, Rick, we gotta stop this guy. He's doing too many dailies. He's doing too many dailies in this area here. And hell, you can even bring your satyr in there. My satyr is effing strong, let me tell you. This satyr is just wrecking noobs. One shot with the basic attack, get owned. Yeah, I think that guy's level 70, so it's like, dude, this content is way old for this. These characters, man. Here, just going through my top 6 guys. Top 6 because they have been doing mostly Prey Raid or the new Pandemonium war that got released. These are my fastest characters. They can do everything in one shot and no problem. So, anyway, going down to my lower tier characters, which, I mean, this guy's... I've been disappointed in my male satyr. Can I just say my male satyr has been somebody who I wanted to succeed more at this kind of stuff, but unfortunately, the battle satyr is just not a build that is viable, and this is a mistake I keep on making. But this guy's basically immune to light damage, and I'm not really sure I can dish out anything but light damage here. So I couldn't even dish out neutral, I don't think, if I tried. Oh wait, maybe I can. Okay. Maybe I'll kill him with neutral damage here, so... Okay. Well, that took a little longer than I wanted it to, but we got him. Yeah, I keep forgetting to, enchant my weapon or something, but this guy just constantly screws me over because he's, like, immune to light damage. So, anyway, we managed to take care of him. Moving on. And, I did hear... just some news if you're doing the TOD still. I'm like one of the few people in the world who do TOD still. But if you're still doing TOD, if your character is at level 40, or 40 or higher, so you guys can see, I think I'm on 34 right now, or 54. So if you're at 40 or higher, you no longer have to go up the tower anymore on that character, because what they're going to do when they remove the tower is give you a free 100th floor plot, if that's something you're looking for while you're doing the tower. I don't do the tower for that reason, obviously. I'm just trying to, get some money out of it. But if you are one of those people who are trying to get, like, there is still some usage out of getting that. Like, for instance, if you want the lightning speed epic on your strikers, that gives you infinite lightning dance, Tower of Despair is a great way to farm that. Probably one of the best ways to farm it, because most likely you'll get it. But get a pot out of that. At least be at level 40 with all your characters. That's like a free epic, basically. So anyway, got to do the TOA here on my monk. Just do a quick run of that. Yeah, and unfortunately they're going to be removing it, I think, for the Tower of Abaddon or something like that, which... it's just a shame, man. I don't know what I'm going to do for dailies after they remove that. I didn't have the buff. And there you go. Okay, so the Tower of Dazzlement is something that you're definitely going to want to focus on. I mean, Tower of the Dead is yeah, it's whatever. It's 8 runs for your account, but the Tower of Dazzlement, however, is something that you will get a lot of useful mileage out of it in terms of, you know, rare cards and unique cards and stuff like that. So definitely not a daily you want to skip out on doing, but you know, gotta remember to do it. Now I do want to talk a little bit about what I'm getting every time I sign into my characters, because this is a new daily and I think it's something that is worth talking about. Okay, so first and foremost, you guys can see when I sign in, I get accumulated guild contributions plus 100. And another thing, you can get 50 more just by talking in your guild. Now you have to be in a guild, obviously, to get guild points or guild contribution points, but there's 150 right there. Sign into your character, say something in guild chat, even some nonsense like that, and then when you look at your guild, you're gonna see that you're gonna have contribution points. Now you guys can see right here, here's how you earn points. Okay, you can do optimal dungeons, special dungeons, raids, guild dungeons, and you get a multiplier of that if you actually farm that with any of your party members or guild members. So you guys can see here I don't have any guild coins, but you can, basically they've removed the currency that they used to have, which is the guild certificate, and they've replaced it with this guild coin. So I don't have any right now, but the NPCs that used to use guild certificates now are going to be using the guild coins. And if you have any leftover guild certificates, you can refund them here at the NPC for an amazing exchange rate, let me tell you. But yeah, you can just kind of see all the items that used to be here are still here, but they cost the guild coins instead. And this is actually a pretty decent change because it makes it so that you can get a lot of these items a lot easier, because obviously, I mean, all I had to do was sign in and say something in the guild, and that's 150 points. Now the points don't correlate exactly directly to coins. I think you can see right here, this, you basically accumulate a certain amount of coins every Tuesday, and you can see right here how many points you need for each kind of coin distribution here. So, you know, if I get 1,000 points, I can get 500 coins every week. In which case, all I need is 4 weeks before, you know, I'm going to be able to purchase a legendary insignia. So all I had to do was sign in, say something, and then sign out, and boom, I'm going to get a legendary insignia in like 4 weeks. So really awesome system because, you know, you don't have to farm it nearly as much. On top of that, and something that isn't really related to dailies, but it is something that I am going to start doing as a daily because I want to start farming this on my higher tier characters again, is that if you go into your guild hall, you'll notice that if you have your guild dungeons unlocked, you have, instead of having infinite access to the guild dungeons, what instead you have are a couple runs per day. And you actually get, I think you get 2 runs per day, and that's like 6 times a week. I could be wrong about that, but essentially when you finish up guild dungeons, when you run your guild dungeon, you're going to get a ton of guild coins at the end of it, and you're also going to get obviously some contribution as well just for running the dungeon, but you'll get a certain amount of guild coins as well. So that's yet another way to farm the guild coins, is to farm it directly from the guild dungeons. Now the thing about it is, like I said, they've removed the ability to farm it infinitely, which is actually a good thing in a lot of people's eyes because it makes it less grindy. They've kind of given you just more rewards for less time spent, but you're not able to farm it infinitely basically anymore. So here you can see, just gonna make short work of this guy. Unfortunately, I think they fixed or patched the shortcut where you don't have to kill that ice chick, but maybe I'm wrong about that. You guys tell me if that still exists. But anyway, you guys can see here just a grip of guild coins, and I just get like a ton right there. And then I also get, I think, some, oh yeah, you actually get guild gem pouches directly from the bosses too. So you're getting a lot of different items that you didn't used to get before. You know, guild coins, I think I got extra contribution. Yeah, 150 contribution for doing the Hall of Eternity, which is more than usual that you'll get for clearing dungeons. But, you know, just a great way to get some gemstones. You know, I think I just got a unique gemstone right there. I did, just straight up from that pouch. Now, like I said, you're only going to have access to this dungeon 6 times a week, 3 times a day. Okay, so 6 times a week, 3 times a day, you'll be able to come into here, and it's just a daily kind of thing. I really do hate when they do that, when they make it so that you have to split up the number of runs you have between a couple days. You know, they did this with Tabers. They used to do this shit with, they do this with a lot of content. They used to do this with Operation Hope, where they have a certain number of runs, but they don't let you do all the runs all at once. You have to wait like over the course of 2 or 3 days, which is so effing annoying. Because if you're already spending the time doing it, what's the difference when I'm taking 40 seconds to do this content? What's the difference of me taking 40 seconds now versus 40 seconds tomorrow when they're gonna allow me to jump into here again? It's just so. It's a limitation that doesn't need to exist, and it does. But what am I complaining about? We got easier access to these insignias. Now, why am I farming this when I already have, like, I'm pretty sure my insignia game is on point. I got legendary insignia and 3 unique gems. I don't need to farm this. Well, obviously the guild certificates, the guild contribution thing, I gotta represent the guild. And right there, it just dropped a shadow damage gem straight up from the box. You can see the drop rate really is massively higher than what it was before. I mean, that has never happened before when I farmed this before. But, one thing that does happen is that when you farm it, or when you get your contribution up, you will show the top 3 contributors to the guild. You guys can see right here, and they're kind of ranked. So obviously there's some popularity that you can have contests or something, contribution contests. But on top of that, even though I have these gems and I have a legendary insignia, one thing I don't have is that insignia upgraded, which is something that you can do. If you did not know, you can take your insignia and reinforce it. And in this case, instead of taking guild certificates like it used to, it's gonna take guild coins to do. You guys can see it's taking me 18 coins. So I'm going to use the coins that I have and start upgrading this, and every time I do, you can see it's actually giving me raw stats. I mean, this is real stats that can be used to increase your character's power a little bit. And you guys can see here, all it takes is guild coins, which if I'm getting for free every Tuesday just for signing in, and by doing this kind of guild content every day, all I have to do is take 40 seconds out of my day to be able to farm this. Huge deal for satyrs, who need the raw stats, but huge deal for everybody, honestly. I mean, everybody gets a little bit of extra raw stats, and if you don't have a legendary insignia or don't have great gemstones yet, yeah, more power to you, There's some light damage gem that used to be pretty rare to drop too, but yeah, a great example is on my female brawler. I used to be magical on that character, decided, I'm going to go physical now, and I had to refarm her legendary insignia. Well, this is a very convenient way for me to do it without having to spend too much effort or resources to do it. So one thing is, these new dungeons or guild dungeons are a little bit more suited for the level ranges now. I think at the time they were only suited for like level 85, 90, so now they're a lot more suited towards level 95 cap. And boom, got another royal gem. Dude, I'm getting royal gems like crazy, which is the highest tier gem. You can't get any stronger gems than that. So, hell, do I need some hit rate? Nah, I won't give up move speed for it. But, you can always compound gems if you're not intending to use them. You can always go ahead and compound a couple unique gems, and you'll get a guaranteed unique gem back, which I got, again, light damage here. So, give me move speed. Damn, okay. Oh, shit, I got it. Give me move speed. Alright, well, got hit rate again. But anyway, you kind of get the point there. It's just a really convenient dungeon that they've kind of reworked to make easier, and you don't have to farm it as much. So I shouldn't hear anybody bitching. Hell, you don't even have to do those guild dungeons. Just sign in and say something in the guild for like a week. Or a couple weeks, like a month or so, and you're gonna have it. So just thought I should mention that, because I think it is something that is gonna be a daily I'm gonna have to do at some point. If I'm trying to get my characters who are not really geared out in their legendary insignias. This character, I think she has one too, but if your character doesn't have a legendary insignia, this is a great way to do it. Just sign in, say something. Like these characters down here don't necessarily have one. So, alright, so one thing that I figured out when I was doing these dailies myself is that when I'm trying to get the guild contributions and I'm just signing in, I'm picking up my daily quest, whatever, the Magatama quest, but then I have 50 contribution points that I can get by typing something into the guild chat. But there is a nice, easy way to be able to access that by the press of one button, and that's by using the chat macro. So I set up a chat macro where right next to my quest book button, the F2 button, I can hit F2 and just have a macro that says give me points. So what I can do when I sign into this next character is basically back to back. You're going to see sign into the character, press F2, boom, got my 50 points, and then pick up the quest, and it's essentially just press a button for points. So pro tip from the pros right there. Alrighty guys, so I've signed into my Enchantress because I want to show you guys the content that You know, it didn't just get released. We're actually a whole content update past when this got released. We've had this a little bit more than a month, but this is a really useful system called the Pandemonium meeting channel. And basically, you can just look at the NPC nihilistic Ron right here to see what the rewards are. But essentially, there's two parts to it. One of them is he sells some very, very useful beads. I mean, they're very strong beads. You guys can see this bead right here gives 20 all attack. This bead right here gives 45 P attack or M attack or I attack for your top and bottoms for sure. Even gives you magic stone stat bead for satyrs. I mean, this is something that we've only just recently with Prey Raid had an access to this. Now you have a cheaper access to it that gives you 30 all stat, which is kind of nice. And then another item that you get, you guys can see this winner's prerogatives here, are actually giving you antimatter particles, which get you super tabor faster, regular tabors faster with the Sky Fragment box, as well as Operation Hope a little bit faster with these boxes right here. And hell, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can even boost yourself up using some EXP capsules using 20 of these, which again, like I said, probably not worth it since it's so easy to level. But those are the rewards for doing this dungeon. And those beads, I should mention, are something that can drop from your clears in this dungeon. So how it works is the same as the arena that we had before, except it's more suited for level 95 cap. You basically pick up a team of 2 characters. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to use the same team. You're going to have to, you know, what you can do is set up one team, but it will take you 3 days. However, if you want to do all 3 runs of this dungeon, which is the cap, you get to do this, enter this dungeon 3 times a week. Then you're going to need at least 6 characters to do that if you want to do it in one day. Now, if you only have 2 strong characters, that's fine, but just keep in mind that it's going to take you 3 days to farm it. So, and kind of how I've laid it out is that I paired my weakest satyr with my strongest character. So that's kind of why I have it like this. And you'll see my other characters kind of balance out. They get a little bit weaker, but at the same time they also have stronger satyrs. So okay. And in fact, I think I'm going to change out my brawler is usually a combination that I usually have. So there is a system in here. You guys can see there is a fever time system. So how that works is just if you swap between your characters, you can get a stack of fever built up, and after you swap enough times throughout your characters, you get a huge, I think it gives you speed buff, cooldown reduction buff. Basically, anytime there's a fever gauge, that's what it gives. So not anything all that unique, but you know, something cool. The bosses themselves, I think, are all, as far as I know, they're pretty much all repeated. Nothing all that unique about these guys. And as you guys can see, when you're really strong like this character is, you can kind of make short work of it. So at the end of it, you're going to fight somebody from Kashyyypa, and they're usually always the strongest. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Awakening here. You'll actually fight 2 bosses from Kashyyypa, and I really hate this boss with my EK, man. I really hate her because she iframes like crazy, and she breaks super armor, and I can't combo properly with her. Actually, I didn't even have super armor, so maybe that's why. No, I know she breaks super armor. So anyway, it's a 2-man fight. You guys can see here, fighting the big baddie now. And there he goes again, just canceling everything. Okay. Okay. And there you go. Just takes a couple minutes. I think that's pretty average for my setup. And there you can see, I told you, you guys actually get the bead sometimes, which saves you the price of having to buy it from the NPC, which is huge. This is huge that this is able to happen. And trust me, this has happened quite a lot of times to me. I mean, this is giving me a sub-equipment bead, probably the weakest bead amongst them, but still something I don't have to worry about anymore. I could just kind of put that on a character who doesn't have a good enchantment right now and just get stats for it, get paid. So anyway, you guys can see my characters are locked out of it now. I'm not going to be able to use them, but tomorrow they'll reset and I'll be able to use them if I only have 2 characters to set up a team. Now obviously I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and swap out this brawler with my monk, and then let's go ahead and do, I think this is probably my strongest combination. My striker is a strong character, and my male satyr is actually a pretty strong buffer too. So you know, this is probably my strongest combination that does a really good job in here. But you know, it just goes to show maybe it's worth it. It pays a little bit to kind of invest in your satyrs if you have them, especially in this case. You know, it's something that you know, make your runs a whole lot easier if you have a stronger satyr, obviously. So just damage capping like crazy. I have to put the speed buff on my. I keep forgetting that's a resurrection buff. To me, it always feels like a speed buff because that's the one glaring weakness of the male satyr, is that his resin capabilities are not as good, you know. And of course, I'm gonna run out of skills right when I don't. No, yeah, right when he starts doing this bullshit is when I run out of skills. Okay, thank you. Start building up my fever by switching between my characters a little bit, and then right when I swap back, I should have max fever there. So fever time, and oh my god, man, those damage caps are beautiful, man. And we got one more boss. Always divides up my damage every time I do that. Okay. Yeah, that's the one problem with Lightning Dance. I love Lightning Dance, but it's it gets like its damage nerfed because anytime there's like summons and stuff on the field, you know, obviously it's gonna be going and jumping to enemies I don't want it to jump to. I don't know if that works, but you know, I'm gonna try it anyway. Okay. Get your shins broken. Woo! A little bit faster. And this will be the first time I do it on Monk. So if this is a bad idea, then you heard it here first. Should have brought my Brawler. I'm more confident in my Brawler, but I'm pretty sure my Monk will do fine. My Satyr, my F Satyr is like heads and shoulders above all my other Satyrs. She is actually really overpowered. Now you do need a sizable amount of exorcism in here. If you have any less than that amount, you're gonna have a bad time. This is not even gonna work, I would say. At first, my Satyr, actually, my Enchantress, did not have enough damage to do this content in any reasonable fashion because of the exorcism penalty I was facing. I mean, even though my EK should have been able to make up for it, it did not help. It did not help that I was below exorcism, and it took me like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes or something. So make sure you're above exorcism, or you know, it might not be worthwhile to bring your weak ass Satyrs in there. Let me tell you. Kind of comboing this guy right now. Okay. Doing alright. Let's get my fever buff up. I just wasted my atomic. Okay, that should be good. I've actually been more and more impressed with my Monk, you know. Monk used to be a shitter, and now look at him. I really hate this person. Get one shot, man. And should have just used my awakening. There you go. See you later. You can see about 2 minutes to run that dungeon, no problem. And I got some winner's prerogatives and potentiate, so prerogatives, so pretty tight. He's got it. He's got my weapon. You guys can see I have a Transcendence Gauntlet on this character. I'm trying to get another one for my Brawler. I did mention it. I wanted to buy this weapon earlier, and I've had Thedge right here farm it for me. Dude, let me get that, son. Oh, I'm so excited. I am so excited. Where is he? Let me see it, man. He's done it. He did it. Oh, man, that is so good. Yo, thanks, man. Oh, man. Guys, just put it on. Who cares? We did it. We got it. Yeah. I'm so happy. Dude, it's so crazy that I just talked about this. And it's here. We did it. This item is so effing rare. You can only get it from people who's had Transcendence Gauntlets for the female fighters before the update, because it doesn't drop from the Spirit Heaven. Oh man, I'm just so happy. Yeah, you have to actually upgrade a normal weapon, which is, I had a normal Transcendence weapon already. That's what my female striker has. You have to actually upgrade it to +4 to make it red like that, so you guys can see. Oh man, I'm happy. I'm fucking happy, dude. The weapon skin system is alive, and I'm feeling $1 million bucks. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. There's a lot of dailies, obviously, I didn't do today. You guys can, you know, obviously turn in any kind of daily quest. I talk about it all the time, but any daily quests you guys have, if you have, you know, I love doing the collecting Magatamic quest, because that is just like a freebie for me. But on top of that, you can of course go to the West Coast Harbor and make your way over to Cargon here, or Abello, sorry. Go to the profession shop and buy some materials, which usually I get the raw mana and just kind of sign off. And once you do that, you've kind of done a couple things now. I mean, just by signing in and doing that, what have you done? You've signed in, got your guild contributions up, talk into the guild chat, sign into character, go to the daily quest right here, go pick up the Magatama quest, go pick up the Abello quest, and hell, if you're one of those people who has a leftover stock of guild certificates, and you can go ahead and trade them for guild coins. And those guild coins, you know, if you wanted to pick up another daily item, I would be picking up the powerful energy box, for instance, which this is a really, really fucking awful exchange rate, can I just say? But it is potentially there. And just something that, you know, I think it is worthwhile to go into your characters just for the legendary insignia alone. And if your character is not in a guild, then go ahead and join or make your own guild, or make a burner guild or something, just so that you can sign into it and talk into it. Because now, like I said, you don't even need to farm any kind of guild dungeons. All you got to do is just get your contribution up. You're going to have that insignia. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Dude, I'm so happy I got that weapon. Dude, sick. And I will catch you knights later. Dude, this weapon is tight. Shout out to Thej, man.